Welcome to the Danny Clinkscale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Insightful and witty commentary, probing interviews, and detours from the beaten path.
Welcome to Danny and Stan's Football Weekend. It's presented by NoNonsenseHealthcareNinja.com, and we got 2 doses of Kansas State football this weekend as Kansas State did their thing on Saturday, and then the Chiefs kind of imitated it on Sunday. A different kind of win by the Chiefs, and that is becoming a theme for the Kansas City Chiefs as well. The Missouri Tigers with a very impressive Saturday, and now they have a big game to kind of maybe take another step up the ladder as far as things are concerned, and their impressive nature. And they kind of won an old-fashioned game as well, as we saw, well, maybe a surprisingly lot of that across the landscape of college football yesterday. All that in the mix today as we get to break down another intriguing Kansas City Chiefs win and some interesting college football thoughts as well. It's all on the table with Stan Weber. It's always good. It's always in-depth. It's always fun. And it comes your way next on Danny and Stan's Football Weekend, presented by NoNonsenseHealthcareNinja.com as part of the Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Comes your way each week. It's time now to get some great assistance on healthcare with Chad Beisel from NoNonsenseHealthcareNinja.com. And Chad, even your business's name would indicate that you have a real aggressive way and an important way to go after some health insurance for your clients.
What I've found out in the industry is just a lot of people are really confused. They don't know what plans are good, what their plans offer, how they cover. And so I've just taken the approach of being really educated on what options are available to clients and showing them all the options that are available and making sure they understand them so they can pick and choose what options are good for them.
And one thing that's really important, of course, is access to doctors and hospitals.
Absolutely. That's becoming a big issue for a lot of people. Some of the plans out there are going to restrict those clients to where they can and cannot go. So if you live just outside the Kansas City metro, some of the counties outside, you may not be able to go to some of the hospitals up here in the Kansas City area. So making sure that you have a plan that's got doctors and hospitals and places you want to go is really, really important today.
Learn more by visiting NoNonsenseHealthcareNinja.com and let Chad help you. Cinematic Visions has been an affordable solution for professional media production in Kansas City since 2003, offering award-winning video production and creation, as well as a wide array of digital and social media management services. From planning, scripting, filming, editing, and post-production, to delivering your product to a watching world, Cinematic Visions will provide professional and affordable services for you and your business with the necessary return on investment to make it all worthwhile. Cinematic Vision's goal is to unlock the power of storytelling through video and a strong online presence for your company. Beyond the numbers, they want to inspire and evoke your clients to feel and act. Let my friends at Cinematic Visions embed your brand where it belongs, in your customers' minds. You can find them online at cinematicvisions.com or with a quick phone call at 816-600-6300. It's time to visit once again with Dr. Brad Woodle of Advanced Sports and Family Chiropractic and Acupuncture. And Dr. Brad, your group has reached a significant milestone in terms of receiving a prestigious award.
We have been honored for the 10th year in a row to receive the 5-Star Service Award by Integrity Doctors. We're just thrilled about that. And what that means is that we are guaranteed to give you excellent service. We're going to treat you like family, and we're going to make sure we do a very thorough evaluation and a care plan to get you well. We have 5 locations, and we're soon opening our 6th. So we are in Olathe, Overland Park, Prairie Village, Belton, Lee Summit, and soon to be Blue Springs.
And I know firsthand about those great services. I come to the location in Overland Park. And for more information and your chance for a healthier way of life, make sure to visit asfca.com/Danny today. Most of us have experienced auto accidents, and it's no fun. And even less fun is trying to work on the insurance aspects afterwards and getting full value after an auto accident. I'm here with David Cowan from RecExpert.com. And David, you have an unusual and important niche for people after an auto accident.
We have a passion to teach car wreck clients what they deserve. Getting your car repaired only fixes the damage and the paint. Getting paid for your car's loss in value is called diminished value. Chances are you've never heard of this before because most people aren't looking out for you. We help people collect thousands to tens of thousands of dollars for their car's loss in value after the wreck.
And if somebody wants to come to you for that, what's the original assessment cost them?
We offer a free review of any insurance claim to see how we can help.
You can't beat that. Great expertise and assistance in getting full value after an auto accident from David Cowan. Visit recexpert.com and learn more.
If you'd like to join these and other great sponsors and market your business to a growing and engaged audience, contact us at danny@dannyclinkscale.com. Look forward to hearing from you.
Stan, let's start with the Kansas City Chiefs and another impressive victory yesterday, and the kind of game that there'd be a lot of different things to analyze, but the Chiefs made so many big plays that they sort of neutralized any things that could have gone wrong in the game. If this game was played down to down, and you never really might have a feel for what happened, because once again, it appeared that a team could easily run the football on the Kansas City Chiefs, and were. But just the nature, the flow of the game, big plays by the Chiefs made it a little bit different. And another defensive team that did some fairly nice things against the Chiefs' regular old offense. So kind of a fascinating game to approach and look at. But what we're seeing right now is that the Kansas City Chiefs are far from just Patrick Mahomes. And it's nice to have him in your hip pocket when you need him. But some weeks right now, the Chiefs don't.
They're a winning team. I mean, they're the best in the league. And they now have a pride about that, and they want to do things better. Each year is a new year, I think, and I think this team has taken on, why wouldn't we be good at the defensive side of the football? They've started to run the football. I thought Le'Veon Bell will be a factor throughout the rest of the year. He looked very fresh. He didn't dance around in the backfield. He made his cuts, got going right away where the play was blocked. I thought he looked impressive. Clyde Edwards-Helaire obviously is a good back. So the Chiefs have a lot of things going for them right now. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, you start right there. But the rest of the team played well. And Denver did a few things well. Lindsey ran the ball well, but when he had his concussion, I mean, Dan Sorensen was playing like an elite safety back there.
He made a couple of hits before that one that knocked him out of the game that were the difference between like a 12 or 14-yard run and a touchdown.
Yeah, the hits were amazing, and then he had the 50-yard interception return, which was Steve Spagnuolo, poetry in motion. When he called the blitz, they knew it was going to happen. He's going to throw hot, and Sorensen jumped the route, intercepted it, took it back. That was a great production right there. Sorensen had a fantastic game, but the Chiefs did have them. The running game worked against them for a little while, but when you're going to score points and play the way the Chiefs do, that rarely makes you pay. And it could have been a close game with the defense that the Broncos played. It's not as if Patrick Mahomes didn't try. They were trying when they were out there. It's just that things didn't go perfectly, and the Chiefs are fine. But it could have been a competitive game, and I thought it might be. But, boy, all the intangible things that the Chiefs just got after the Broncos and exposed almost every one of their weaknesses and played so smoothly in the snow. Just a great win, super separation, 10 straight wins over the Denver Broncos. It's nice to continue to put that burden on their shoulders. The Broncos have got to walk out in the field and wonder, are we ever going to beat the Chiefs? This group of players, the way the NFL turns over, Danny, are there any Broncos on the roster who are around when they beat the Chiefs? I mean, do they know that Peyton Manning actually walked in their locker room? I don't think so. This is a whole new regime, all new players. It's great to dominate them. It's great to dominate your division. And if you'd have lost that game, Danny, the ifs, what's so great about the NFL, if you'd have lost, you'd see the Broncos are playing better football. They've won 3 straight. They're not that far behind us. The Raiders are playing better football. They're not that far behind us. But now you win the game. You're 6-1, and boy, the schedule just flattens out. We've been talking about this for a long time, Danny. The Chiefs have played like an all-star schedule for NFL production. Well, why don't we have the Chiefs play a lot of really good teams and see what happens? That's not going to last forever. The schedule has to balance out, and we've had feature games so often with the Chiefs that I've gotten used to it. But I knew this was coming. Now you look down the schedule, and you've got the game at Tampa Bay that really catches your eye because Tampa's playing at a higher level, and Brady's getting better. Antonio Brown's going to be showing up. Gronk looks like his normal self. All those things. But other than that, it's hard to make a case that the Chiefs are going to lose many of these games for the next 5, 6, 7 weeks.
Right. It seems like 2 losses is about the outer edge. Now the Raiders come to town, and obviously they had something for the Chiefs in that game, and there's a couple other tough games on the slate, don't get me wrong. But certainly the Chiefs now are squarely in a battle probably with the Steelers for the bye, but does the bye matter that much to the Chiefs? Are they going, a home game against a 8 seed will it be? I can't remember, 7 seed probably. Seems like very likely. I don't know if that game's going to be in play, but that's way down the road that we talk about. Let's talk about some of the good things that the Chiefs are doing, running the football. They were able to do so again. Le'Veon Bell, first touch that he gets a big run. What's this offensive line doing to give these holes to these running backs?
Well, they're coming off the football. And in the NFL now, the running game somewhat emulates the passing game. It's all about the pass in the National Football League. So you've got guys sometimes that don't put their hand down. I mean, you'll see tackles in a 2-point stance like it's 3rd and 15 in the old days. Well, now they may do that on first down. Every look is to emulate the passing game. Normally going to drop back, get your sets, and keep the defensive line from getting to you. And then when you run the football, you get used to a lot of draw looks, a lot of pushing people out of the side, making them think they should pass rush. And then once in a while, when you're going to have a straight-ahead running play, they'll go, and then what do? They put their hands on the defensive lineman and start trying to position themselves. It's all about positioning. And you can see the shoulder pads getting smaller and smaller on offensive linemen because they really don't use their shoulder to smack into people. But the Chiefs are not doing it that way. They are coming off the ball and moving the line of scrimmage. So you talk about getting to the second level. You'd love to get up and block a linebacker while he's still 2 or 3 yards from the ball, not just meet him in the hole. Well, you're seeing that. And whenever you get a jagged defensive front, there are holes for good running backs. If you can slide side to side and step your body in there, you're going to gain 2 yards for sure, probably going to jump forward and gain 4 or 5. So not only do you want to block people, if you can block them at different levels, you have big advantages for your backs to utilize. And then they're moving people. You might see a nose guard, and they double-team him, and they shove him back 3 yards. So it's the classic what Marty Schottenheimer would love from his blocking unit, as he may call it. They are moving people, and I think they're excited by it. That's why calling the running play over and over again puts a new found mindset into the offensive lineman, because I think you can have a good running game in the NFL and not move the line of scrimmage, because that's the way we play. But when you call run after run after run against the Bills, the Chiefs just changed right before your eyes. They started going after people, moving up. And then let's don't forget one of the key runs of the game, Travis Kelce. I mean, he goes inside and seals the linebacker to the inside so that the Chiefs can get outside. Great job, great position. He's a big dude. But then his timing, he not only blocks that guy, he blocks him for a count of 1 and then goes up to the next level and picks off another guy. This is elite. This is the way the running games used to be built, where you would double-team a guy for a little bit and then one of them would leave and catch another guy, and there'd be just giant walls of players. And I just saw one replay where I go, gosh, Travis Kelce, that is old-school dominant play from a guy everyone wants to talk about as a giant wide receiver. So they're really hitting on all cylinders as far as having an attitude that we're going to move the line of scrimmage. Now, does that affect their pass blocking?
Right. I was just going to get to that. You jumped my question there, because they give up 3 sacks. Mahomes was under duress. This configuration of the line, this is what we've seen. Is it possible that they aren't very good at pass protection?
Well, you heard me ask the question, and you're so good at anticipating these things, Danny, and looking at the balance. When you change your style, you change your style. So I think the guys are on, the balls of their feet rather than on their heels. Again, modern football, you line up and you're a big dude and you position yourself and you're great with your hands and you get your feet moving in the right direction, get a quick get off and get square. That's what it's about. And then you pass block. And you can do that very well. But when you're run blocking, you're using much of the same skills. The Chiefs aren't doing that. They're on the ball or feet and coming off. I've not seen Patrick Mahomes have guys come to him and sack him so decisively, quickly maybe, and decisively as we saw. This was not Patrick Mahomes, moving around and, oh, darn it, the pocket collapsed around him. This was a guy coming off the edge right now, or beating his guy right now. And so the offensive line's not perfect for the Chiefs. I wonder if the mentality of being run blockers takes that balance away. You're not getting back quite as quick. You're not as strong. You're always, I'm sure, Danny, if you end up hitting the same club a few times in golf, it's helpful.
Right.
Yes. If a golf course has all kinds of diversity and you're pulling a different club out, you're the same golfer, but still, I'm not a good golfer, but I bet there's a rhythm where you say, Well, I'm hitting a 7-iron in. God,
Again.
this is the 4th 7-iron I've hit on the last 5 holes.
Right.
Doesn't it help? I mean,
Sure.
Something about it. So when you get in a pass block mode, which is normal to the NFL football, even on run plays, they kind of have a pass block mode. So there is some question about that. There's also assignment issues. I doubt the Chiefs want to tell us the facts, but when the running back sprints out and goes out of the backfield for a pass, there's 2 ways of taking on an edge blitzer, an edge rusher. Block him with your back, or say, I'm going to leave him unblocked and then throw the ball to me. But I thought Le'Veon Bell and Clyde Edwards-Helaire each run in on plays where I wondered if they had the assignment to block or go out. Was there a missed assignment? Because there was a guy unblocked right in Patrick Mahomes' face. And if he's supposed to go, then it's on Patrick to get rid of the ball. I'm not probably going to lean that Patrick made a mistake yet. I'm sure he does make a few. But yeah, there are some questions. The offensive line's not great. They did give up some pass rush, and this wasn't the Raiders. The Raiders got after it. The Patriots have a style. This seemed more like someone wasn't on the right page. Someone came free, either a running back, a tight end, or the tackle, or the whole blocking unit didn't angle to the right. They just stayed steady or went to the left, but they let too many free runners get after Patrick because not only were they sacks and decisive, they were hits.
Right.
And that is the biggest danger for the Chiefs is that he gets hurt getting hit.
On the other side of the ball, obviously the Chiefs' defense is stepping up, and they make big plays. Right now I would call the Chiefs a big play defense because when you can run as effectively as you can against the Chiefs, you have some options. You have play action at your disposal. Now, I didn't think Drew Lock was very good yesterday. That's in part credit to the Chiefs. But it does beg the question, with 2 $20 million defensive linemen, what do you see? Why can't the Chiefs stop the run?
Well, that's a good question. I think those $20 million linemen love to sack the quarterback because they don't want to be $12 million linemen. So, there's some mentality. I think there's a belief and a confidence that they're going to make the big play. The NFL should be pretty even, okay? It should be. If you watched Detroit and Atlanta and wondered who was going to win at the end or who was going to blow it,
right?
One of those classics. But that's what the games are supposed to look like, close. And what do many coaches say at the end of the game? Where our guys got to make big plays. I mean, we put them in position all game long, but are they really strategically that much better than their opponent? No. Are the athletes that much different? No. But they talk about we got to make some big plays. So that mentality is legitimate, and I think the Chiefs defense has an unbelievable confidence that we got to make big plays. Are they perfect players? The linebackers aren't perfect players. They get blocked once in a while. Chris Jones will blow something up. Again, is he paid to make 3 fantastic plays, or is he paid to play down after down, taking on the double team and like he's Dan Saliamua and setting it up for I'm not sure that we can even sit here with a straight face and say he's supposed to play that run down after down and set things up. Maybe they really do want him to just blow a few plays up. But we can't forget that they're ultra confident they're going to win and that Patrick can cover them if they need 40 or 30. And I know the Chiefs don't give up much more than 20 now. They're doing things. But big plays are part of the NFL. And, I look at Tyrann Mathieu back there. I don't see him making many mistakes, but he sure makes his 2 or 3 big plays each game. And it doesn't matter. On the flea flicker that they pitched to the Chiefs, basically, I mean, that's an unforced error.
Right.
Denver did so many things wrong. The Chiefs just accepted it.
Yeah.
But let's take it a step further. Flea flicker. Well, if you look in the announcer said no one's open downfield, but if they showed from the end zone angle, you could tell Tyrann Mathieu was 40 yards downfield guarding the guy.
Right.
And then the next play, you'll see him at the line of scrimmage or behind the line of scrimmage making a play. It is amazing. He's everywhere. They're looking for big plays. Again, I do think stopping the run matters, but the Chiefs make it matter as little as any team I've ever seen in history.
Right, and we'll see if they're that's the issue. That's the only thing that makes you talk about it, is because is it going to be important in a game that's important? A game that's a regular football game that's just sort of back and forth, and the other team is able to control. That's what we've seen. I think they used the stat yesterday that if the other team has had the ball 35 minutes, the Chiefs are 1-6 with Patrick Mahomes, or 6 to 7 losses, or something like that. Anyway, it was the other team controlling the ball for 35 minutes. That's in play. That's in play against the Chiefs. That's the only real danger there.
Yeah, another way of saying it, you said it also, but we're comparing them in the playoffs and in the Super Bowl against the very elite on a very good day. Chiefs will be favored against anybody and everybody, but if the other team plays really well, do they have a way that maybe they could turn this game upside down and force the Chiefs to lose a close game? And my best example is San Francisco 49ers in the Super Bowl. I mean, they shouldn't have lost the game, and if Chris Jones' left hand doesn't go up at the right time, I think they probably complete a pass, move the clock forward, and the Chiefs don't win.
Right.
And it's because the Niners could run. It wasn't because Garoppolo was dealing back there.
Right.
It was the running game which set up the passing game. So the Niners were built to play against the Chiefs. And there may be a team out there that's built to play the Chiefs in that kind of fashion. So that's all we're saying about it. We're looking hard around this team to go, your chances of winning are not very good. And when Danny says, the Chiefs probably are going to go 14-2, I'm very willing to listen to anybody with their hand up right now listening to the podcast going, no, I got them for 15-1. And I'd go, okay, I'm not going to argue with you. It's in play.
Yeah.
And 14-2 is likely because you lose a game here and there in the NFL. But it's really hard to say the Chiefs are going to lose 2 more.
Yeah,
I don't see it. So we're talking about comparing to what your elite competition on a certain day is going to give you, and that's probably the only little room, but the window's very small to climb through to beat the Chiefs because they're likely going to score a lot of points and cover that.
We'll see if they can cover one of the epic numbers in NFL history next week. As
what
the
is
Chiefs
it now?
open at 21.5-point favorites against the Jets. Probably a number. It's just hard in NFL pro football, especially Andy Reid kind of seems to take the gas off. But we'll see. We'll see how much carnage
there
is.
Used to be, and there still may be, just a ton of people who live in New York, and I know what they're going to bet. So anybody who's interested in a little action can move that line. We may see it move up to 23 because every Jet fan is going to be betting on the Chiefs.
I wouldn't think so. Let's talk about the college game coming up next. Good weekend for Mizzou and K-State. The Cats keep rolling along under the radar a little bit as Iowa State and Oklahoma State were said to be playing for the inside track in the Big 12. Well, K-State's undefeated, by the way, and we'll check that out coming up next.
More of Danny's Reasonably Irreverent podcast after this.
We're here with Joe Spiker, the CEO and president of Easton Roofing. And, Joe, you had a great year in 2019, a record year. 2020 comes, things are moving smoothly along, and then the coronavirus comes. But your company seemed to be very ready, very proactive, and very ready to serve your customers well.
Yeah, we adopted social distancing very early before the cities even put out the notices. And we started working from home. We are largely cloud-based as a company, so that transition was easy. Our technicians are wearing masks and gloves, and salespeople are not meeting with homeowners. We're doing everything digitally and doing everything we can to do our part to get over this as quickly as possible.
So for any needs that people have right now, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
Well, you can always call us, 913-257-5426. But the best way is to go to eastonroofing.com, put your information in, and we'll give you a call.
Easton Roofing. Integrity matters.
Hi, everybody. This is Matt Llewellyn from 23rd Street Brewery in Lawrence. I just want to thank everybody for supporting local restaurants during this time of uncertainty. 23rd Street Brewery is now open until this pandemic is over. And right now, more than anything, local restaurants need your help and support. Come on out and see us. 23rd Street Brewery is open now from 11:30 till 9 o'clock for dine-in and carry-out. Whatever we can do to help you out, maybe with your catering needs, too. I appreciate all the support. And thank you for continuing to shop local.
Firsthand, I have enjoyed the benefits of the CBD products from Canaway. My back feels better and better these days as a major part of my routine are the pain-relieving salve and the Pure Gold oil. And recently I had the pleasure of a treatment session using the Canaway CBD in conjunction with the Microlight 830 cold laser. The non-invasive treatment session worked wonders, and I could barely tell I was even being touched. TML 830 is the first 3B cold laser to get FDA approval, and in addition, the combination treatment with CBD is patent pending. The new smart laser is the only hands-free cold laser in the world and is used by athletic trainers, chiropractors, MDs, physical therapists, and veterinarians everywhere. You can learn more about all the great benefits from the complete line of Canaway CBD products by contacting my friend Sherry McCants at 515-208-6312. That's 515-208-6312. 6312 to get outstanding information about Canaway. I'm here with Tim Emerson, the owner of Emerson & Company. And Tim, give us an idea of the range of services that you provide from Emerson & Company.
At Emerson & Company, we do credit card processing, payroll services. We do bookkeeping, merchant accounts like point-of-sale systems.
What would you say differentiates you from other companies in the field, and what makes you special?
I think what makes us unique is that we're a small local business making regional decisions on companies. We create a profile for the business and then put it out to our different vendors in a very competitive environment and tailor those needs to the specific business, which usually ends up in a great fit or great result for the company.
And, of course, the idea is to save money, right?
Save money, and actually sometimes I'm surprised where actually a solution that may cost a little bit more ultimately does save money, but we're not conditioned to think like that sometimes.
Emerson & Company. Check them out at emerson-co.com or call them at 816-360-9092. If you'd like to join these and other great sponsors and market your business to a growing and engaged audience, contact us at Danny@DannyKlinkscale.com. Look forward to hearing from you. Back with Stan and yet another Sunflower Showdown that was a mowdown, and for Kansas fans, the game was a calamity. The K-State did a lot of things very, very well, but for Kansas, yeah, you can look, okay, our punter was injured, but bad decision-making. I couldn't believe it. I had to watch the game on my phone. I was busy. I went back and watched highlights and things like that, but I just flat out couldn't believe when the fourth punt return was a big one. I mean, I'm like, are you serious that they punted the ball to this? I mean, after the first one, no wavo. Even a third-string punter can kick the ball out of bounds. I mean, so all kinds of bad things for Kansas. But once again, K-State winning in K-State fashion. Offense wasn't very good at first, but then they dominated the third quarter. So just hats off to the Cats. Kansas was Kansas.
K-State, when I went into the ball game, we're trying to extend the winning streak to the longest it's ever seen in history. Bill Snyder had an 11-game winning streak, but this is number 12. And Bill Snyder obviously had a lot to do with that as well. But now you go to the 12th straight victory, and K-State did it. And the first half dominance in the special teams is the greatest I've ever seen. K-State basically took their foot off the pedal in the second half on special teams. And let me tell you, if K-State, there was a kickoff that bounced at the 10 and then squirted through like a base hit between a second baseman and a shortstop. You know how they converge and the ball goes, oh, darn, it made it through. K-State's two returners didn't get there, and the ball squirted through to be a touchback. But, Danny, watch out. If one of them would have caught it, I'm telling you, some more bad stuff would be talked about on the KU special teams. You know what I'm saying? The K-State kickoff
return. It was blocked
return,
up is what you're saying.
They would have lit them up. And I went into the game, talking about keys to the game on the network with Wyatt. And I have the last one down here. And it was just simply dominate special teams, not be better on special teams, win the special, dominate. Because going into the game, I thought K-State versus KU in that area was the biggest differential by far. So most of what we saw is no surprise to me. I know a little bit about what's going on in K-State special teams, and I studied KU, and I go, this isn't about the third-string punter. This has nothing to do with all the things that KU would hope to talk about. They have a bunch of players on K-State side that were going to block them up, and it was going to be a domination. Now, to have the greatest number of return yards in the history of K-State football, 189 yards, from Phillip Brooks, and 2 touchdowns. Never happened in K-State football history that a guy had 2 punt returns for a touchdown. And then the worst, punch in the gut for KU fans is when K-State calls timeout with 8 seconds left in the first half to say, well, let's try to get a punt return. The clock's going to run out, so there's only one thing that happened. Either block the punt, which K-State's the best in the country at, or try to return it. Well, I was on the air saying, well, they got to block it. I mean, I got to go for the block. And they pop a return. I think they were going to go for the block. Kansas called timeout, or a guy moved early. And K-State said, well, why don't we go ahead and return it? And then they house it. How could you call your shot like that? I mean, that just doesn't happen. So K-State dominated that area, separated, and then when it's all said and done, Danny, not only did they win their 12th game, they're setting the tone with Chris Kleiman versus Les Miles. That's all very important. I talked about the Chiefs beating the Broncos for the 10th straight time. And K-State does it, scoring 55 points, the 5th most points they've ever scored against Kansas, the 2nd most that they've ever scored in Manhattan against KU. And the winning margin, 55-14, is the best since 2011 when they won 59-21. So they really did a good job of saying, not in our league. We're the 16th ranked team in the country after the rankings, and you guys aren't very good. And that's probably not true when you look at the accumulation of the athletes and how the game played out and the stats. But K-State can go away with a lot of questions around Kansas football players, and that's good for K-State, and now they continue to just grind along. What K-State does well is dominating the special teams, the best in the country. Their defense is pretty darn good.
Right.
They had a pick 6 in this ball game, for instance, and they just weren't out of place at any time. And then the offense is just true freshmen, a work in progress. An offensive line is new. K-State's not great in that area. But the one thing Chris Kleiman has convinced this team is that it's going to be 60 minutes. It's like an NFL game. They don't ever think the backup quarterback's coming in or we're going to get a rest. Most 16th ranked teams in the country kind of have their mind that we'll play 3 hard quarters, and I'm sure my buddy's going to play the backups. And when they go to West Virginia, right now K-State's an underdog going to West Virginia. It'll be a tough game, but they're all going to be tough. K-State's feisty. They know how to find a way to win, hidden yards, that kind of thing. But mostly they'll be there to fight all game long to give it their best shot.
Strategically, what are the key things that you're seeing early in this week, West Virginia versus K-State?
West Virginia's defensive front, they have a couple of Stills brothers that are so good that's really hard to say that K-State's going to be able to run the football to keep things moving. And even though K-State may not be great at running, you still want to have it as a core part of your team. You don't want to throw every down, right, with a true freshman quarterback and the injuries of the wide receivers. So where is K-State going to find their yards to continue to move downfield? They have not been a good third down conversion team this year. They haven't kept the ball. And so that's going to be the real challenge against West Virginia. K-State's not a team that controls the ball and goes down the field systematically this year. And West Virginia is definitely going to make that very, very hard. So there's going to be extreme pressure on the defense to not allow West Virginia to score. Keep the ball in the middle field. Old school, we'll talk about Missouri and Kentucky,
right.
A little bit of that. Why not a 20-10 game, something like that? Obviously, the more special teams plays that are played, more punts and punt returns and that kind of thing, K-State's going to find their way with some hidden yardage. But it's a tough matchup with West Virginia because their front is so good.
Missouri played a game that, this is the way that Kentucky plays games. Their offense isn't very good. Their quarterback is not very good.
Neither one of them.
They have a good
rotate.
Yeah, they have a good running game with their backs, but that's hard to rely on in modern football. You're going to have to convert some third downs. To Missouri's credit, their defense was supposed to be a calling card coming into the year, and they had not been very good. And this is the right opponent to give you confidence for the rest of the season. They really controlled this game. 20-10 really doesn't tell the story.
Yeah, this is old school, and it tells you something really positive because Eli Drinkwitz comes in with his Appalachian State strategies and styles and just all kinds of aggressiveness on fourth down, exotic playbook, ability to throw the ball, score points.
They had a 21-play drive that didn't produce points.
Yeah, so this is a great indicator of what kind of coach Missouri has, is that he can play with his his left hand as well as you can with, when he made it to this point, you knew what he did well. He got hired as a Missouri coach for doing a lot of things well. But when you get to this conference, they're going to ask you to do some other things well. A great example that we always refer to around here is Bill Snyder was the greatest offensive coordinator in college football for the University of Iowa, who went to the Rose Bowl, beat Michigan, all these things that were pretty unbelievable, right? He gets hired as a K-State coach, and what is K-State known for? Well, they're pretty good at offense through the Bill Snyder era, but they're known for defense, number one in the country 5 straight years, and special teams.
Right.
There is an example. And Eli Drinkwitz comes into this game, and he's got a fist fight. And you got to play Kentucky. Kentucky refuses to allow you to play your game. You're going to play their football, old school, Stoops football, and Missouri did it better. And Kentucky was just holding on by a thread, like, I think we're still in the game. Well, we've only had the ball for 15 minutes all game. I think we're still in the game. No, Missouri is pounding you. Their running game looks better. Roundtree's more in control. The offensive line's coming off the ball. The quarterback's not making mistakes. The freshman's, conducting the game rather than just trying to throw for 400 yards. It's easier for a modern young quarterback to throw for 400 yards, Danny, than it is to play within a disciplined style and be patient and be a part of 21 plays. High school kids aren't like that. They're like, let's gun the ball downfield. So it was really good to see Missouri play a different style and do it so well. And then the defense, which was supposed to be an area where Missouri felt good going in. Same defensive coordinator, stays on with a new coach. Got some guys, there's some turnover, but Missouri had some chances to be good on defense, yet Tennessee got after them. Can't compare it against Alabama and LSU because their offenses are elite. But when Tennessee moved the ball on them, you go, uh-oh, is Missouri's defense up to par? Well, Kentucky's offense is one you got to get your arms around and stuff and not allow to be successful, and they did. They said, you're not going to run the ball because we know you can't pass. And Kentucky's trying to win football games. Credit them. They're trying to win football games in a very hard way. Their offense is unreliable.
Right.
They can't pass the ball at all. They're really waiting for turnovers, field position, and Missouri said, nope, not going to happen today. Impressive win by Mizzou.
Absolutely. Kentucky has completed 9 passes this year that have traveled over 10 yards in the air. All year. I know. Like you're saying, that's an incredibly hard way.
This is a mid-range, pretty successful, I would say, SEC team.
Right, without
that
any
has
passing game.
No passing game.
Right, that's amazing.
And they're obviously changing quarterbacks and everything else. In a game where they already had the ball, they were changing quarterbacks.
Right.
So they're doing it with a formula that's feisty and hard to beat. I mean, they took the game from Tennessee, but Missouri matched them at their own game and said, we're better at playing Kentucky style than you are. That was impressive.
And this week against Florida, tough assignment. This will be we thought the first litmus test was Tennessee, and Missouri failed it. This against Kentucky was kind of. You lost to them 5 times. You proved your point here. Nobody's going to expect Missouri to go to Florida and win, but just the tenor of the game, how it goes, whether you get housed like you did against Tennessee, or maybe it's just a tough football game you lose and or win. So another sort of, as I said, litmus test for the Tigers.
But a litmus test with only upside.
Right.
Nothing that happens this Saturday will put any water on the fire of what Missouri football's done. I mean, beating LSU anytime is a giant deal. Backing it up and being 2-2 at this point when you had to play against Alabama and at Tennessee, and now you're playing what is supposedly an elite team in Florida, and you got Georgia at home. These next 2 weeks are just Missouri has nothing to lose and everything to gain. I mean, they really are in a good position, and I think teams play well there. For example, on this COVID stuff, Florida's going through it.
Right.
Okay? And therefore, they really haven't done much at practice. They haven't played games for a while. It's been a while since they played. No, by the way, they lost to Texas A&M the last time they played, I believe. So this Florida team has a lot of hype, but not a good rhythm of practice and everything else. I want to use an example to compare and contrast. When the Tennessee Titans got into their situation in the NFL and were basically put to the side where the rest of the NFL continued on, everyone had them with no chance of performing at a high level. I mean, none. And Buffalo was the team they were playing next, and everyone's saying, boy, Buffalo catches a giant break. They get Tennessee, who's not going to play well, and the game turned upside down, looked nothing like it, right?
Right.
Well, if you would have asked me before the game, I'd say I would predict this. I don't believe in Buffalo. I do believe in Tennessee, and it's not going to affect those NFL players at all.
Right.
It will not affect them, Danny. They know when it's game time to go. They don't need to practice that much. They know how to watch video and turn it into action, okay?
Right.
And they got a quarterback in Tannehill and a coach. I didn't doubt at all. So those people who said those things about Tennessee, hit tape, say it again, I'll go with you this time. I think a college team like Florida is going to have some problems with all of this. And it's not a great feeling when you just lost to Texas A&M.
Right.
A&M's tough, but Florida thought they were going to win. So I think Missouri's going to be right there, man. This could be another opportunity because Missouri will play lights out, and they've matched up well with Florida also. But I think it's great, that Florida is a highly ranked team, and I don't think that they have been locked in on practicing with the COVID stuff. So turn on your TV and watch this one, man, because I think Missouri's going to be right there with the Gators.
You heard it from Stan Weber. Stan, always appreciate the time.
Thanks, Danny.
We hope you enjoyed the latest Danny Clinkscale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Come back soon for something fresh and new. This podcast was made possible by our great sponsors like
NoNonsenseHealthcareNinja.com, specializing in expert healthcare guidance and assistance for you.